Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Padawan Podcast, Apocalypse Movies, all Star Wars podcast, where we geek out on everything from the galaxy far, far away. I'm your host, Jake Berlin, a.k.a. Qui-Gon Jake, and I'm joined today by my fellow Academy members, Jacob Bartley, a.k.a. Grandma Bartley, and Gio Ramos, a.k.a. C3GO. How's it going, fellas?
Going well, man. I think I need a new Star Wars name. I'm getting bored. No, I'm just kidding.
Really?
I'm the Grandma. I'll keep it.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Another day of Star Wars. Excited.
Yeah, so it was a little bit slow 2 weeks in the world of Star Wars, which is a little bit surprising with all these movies going on. But we do have some things to talk about. We talk a little bit with Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley, of course, a little bit of news on Han Solo, some original trilogy stuff going on. But let's kick off with Oscar Isaac. While speaking with LA Times, he talked about Episode 8 and Rian Johnson, and of course they're in production right now. But he was quoted as saying, I agree with Lawrence Kasdan. Rian is definitely going to places and investigating things that haven't really been done in the Star Wars universe. For me, it's so fun getting to explore different things that I wouldn't have expected in this universe. In some ways, it feels like we're making an independent film. He continued, or that was it. And, of course, referencing Lawrence Kasdan, who came out last year saying Rian Johnson's making a weird Star Wars film, something that Star Wars has never seen before. So I kind of want to get your thoughts. You know, we mentioned indie film, which is a big deal, because Star Wars is usually considered a big blockbuster, an event-style film. And, of course, Rian Johnson has made two smaller films with Brick and Looper. But, Jacob, I'm going to start with you, man. What do you think of the comments, and what do you think of the description of an independent film for Episode 8?
Well, I don't want people to get this mixed up. It's not literally going to be like...
No, he's just
like
describing
an independent film, but I think he's talking about the vibe on set is what he's talking about. And the way that Rian Johnson works with actors, even though J.J. Abrams is pretty good at working with actors, I think Rian Johnson takes it to another level. Like, he's actually... like diving into the actors' mind state and trying
he's character driven,
pull their performance out of them. Where J.J. Abrams is not like Michael Bay bad with this working with directors, but he's not primarily an actor's director. I think Rian Johnson is. So I think that's what he's referencing. I don't think the scale of Episode 8 is going to be independent. I just hope, because I don't know. I think Gio might feel the same way, because we watched Brick a couple months ago, and it's a good movie. It's really dark, and it's kind of really hard to follow. Mm-hmm. And I hope that he doesn't make Episode 8 too difficult. Like, it should be simple. Force Awakens, very simple, straightforward. This happens, this happens, this happens. I don't want him to be jumping all over the place and get too difficult. But also, whatever Disney, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, whatever they say comes first. So he understands that. I'm sure he's a big Star Wars fan. He probably wouldn't be doing this if he wasn't. So he probably respects them and is going to do whatever they say. But I as far as what Oscar Isaacs really means by this, meaning the feel of what it's like on set and working with Rian Johnson, I think it's very positive comments. I think I'm very excited to get something different in the Star Wars movie. Even though each film does feel different from each other, I feel like this is going to be the most different Star Wars movie we've ever gotten. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, and, kind of going off your point of Brick and how dark it is, and this is expected to be a very dark film, and possibly one of the darkest, or even the darkest in the Star Wars universe.
Especially if this trilogy is going to mimic the original trilogy.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Empire is the darkest
Star Wars film. And I kind of agree with you. I think that his comments kind of point towards the character style and what Rian Johnson does with actors and actresses, and how he directs them. And I love the comments. I mean, I love that he kind of says that it's like making an independent film, because independent films are always great. I mean, they're always really great films, and it kind of just builds on the level of depth of that what Star Wars can reach. So, Gio, I mean, what do you think of the comments, man? Anything stand out to you?
You know who else compared a major blockbuster film to like being an indie film? It was Chris Terrio. You know what recent blockbuster Chris Terrio was involved in? It was Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Not that this has anything related to...
Was that the movie he was referencing as being, like, feeling like an independent film?
Yeah, when he was...
Batman v Superman?
Really?
Chris Terrio, yeah.
I didn't know that.
When he was doing it...
Is that what you were laughing about?
Yeah. because it brought back memories. But anyways, it's great news. This kind of further argues why Lucasfilm chose Rian Johnson because of his style and his filmmaking. They thought he was the right guy to tell the next episode of these characters and where they go from here. And obviously where they go from here will be a darker path. Bad things will happen. And I feel like Rian Johnson's the right guy. No offense to Abrams. I know he wanted to return, but it's all about like actors, it's the best fit. And I think Rian Johnson's a better fit to tell the story than J.J. Abrams, who did a great job introducing, the characters. And not a lot of people know this, but Star Wars, the original, A New Hope, was technically an indie film. It did not have a big budget.
A lot of people, there's probably about 90% of people who did not believe in it.
Right? Yeah, there were
and all the actors were unknown.
Yeah.
And
it was definitely an indie film.
And up until that point, George Lucas was independent filmmaker.
So I buy the comments, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, moving on to, of course, one of the biggest stories since The Force Awakens. Of course, one of the bigger things coming out of the movie is who the hell is Rey? And who are her parents? Where is she from? And obviously, whenever a news outlet or reporter gets J.J. Abrams, Daisy Ridley, or anybody involved in front of any kind of microphone, they're going to ask the big question of where Rey comes from. And last week, the MTV Movie Awards happened. The Force Awakens came home with a lot of awards, including Best Movie, and Daisy Ridley won Best Breakout Actor. And Josh Horowitz over at MTV caught up with her behind stage to ask her about Rey's parents, Episode 8, and of course, one of the crazy theories after the Rogue One trailer. And Daisy Ridley was quoted as saying, talking about, according to Ridley, rumors of Jyn and Rey's familial connection have been greatly exaggerated. Ridley was saying, "I'm not being funny, you guys, but it's just because she's white and got brown hair, it doesn't mean she's my mom." And she told that to MTV Movie Awards. She continued by saying, talking about Rey's parents, "I think the amazing thing about Episode 8 is that Finn and Rey don't come from anywhere, and they find a place. So to me, it's funny that people think it's so important because I don't really think it is." And of course, after the Rogue One trailer, people are all over the line are going crazy about, is Jyn Erso Rey's mom? Is Felicity Jones playing Daisy Ridley's mom? It's possible, sure, but Daisy Ridley clearly says, no, it's pretty much not possible. She shoots down the idea of it. Maybe she's, playing around the theory or whatnot, but I tend to believe her. I don't think it's that would be the case. I think it'd be kind of, and we say it all the time, but Star Wars is a gigantic universe. Why make it smaller? And this would definitely make it smaller. And just because she's a female lead, just like she says, a female lead with brown hair doesn't mean she has to be her mom. So Gio, I'm going to go right back to you, man. I mean, what do you think about the comments, and what are your feelings about the theory of Jyn Erso being Rey's mom?
Daisy Ridley has a very good point, about her character. Just because two people look alike doesn't mean they're related. It reminds me of John Boyega and his Finn character, and he's automatically Lando's son. Really? Why? Why?
Or Mace Windu's son.
Or Mace Windu's son. Yeah, not the universe ain't that small. She's being very secretive. She's not gonna let us. I mean, why even ask? I mean, you have to ask, but I mean, why even ask? Why do you ask? Magneto in X-Men 1 says, "Why do you ask questions to which you already know the answer?" And by that, it's like
you already know you're not gonna get.
You're not gonna get the answer. Yeah.
Even if she did know.
Right.
Or
Yeah. So and I love her point about her and Finn, Rey and Finn not being from anywhere. They're very relatable. That's why they should be together. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
There's no reasons why Rey and Finn should be together. Be together as friends, yes. This is the big question. It always has been. It will be until we find out who are Rey's parents, what is her lineage, who is she related to. And no matter what, she's not going to tell it. Daisy Ridley's already a pro at this. She's not going to tell us. So all we can do, and of course, reporters, the press are going to ask no matter what. All we can do is just, be patient and wait until we find out. I happen to think that her parents, whoever her parents are important, but she's going to say those obvious answers. Like, it's not important, they came from nothing, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I think it's definitely someone relevant. And even if it's not Luke or Obi-Wan or,
anybody
Han Solo,
we've seen before, yeah.
it's going to be, whatever the reveal is where she came from or what her backstory is going to be important no matter what. So I don't believe her when she says it doesn't matter. Because it definitely does matter. Because even if her parents are people we've never heard of before, who are they? Where did they come from? Why did they abandon her?
Why is she so powerful?
Did they leave her to Luke to train? So even if they are people that we do not know, they're still going to be important. So either way, yeah, it does matter for sure.
So, quick question before we move on. Do we think that we're going to get Rey's backstory in episode 8?
Yes.
I think so. I don't think
all the way,
fans,
the full backstory? Or is it kind of going to be fleshed out over the next 2 movies?
The most important element, yes. But if you look back at the original trilogy, we found out that Vader was Luke's father
at the end of Empire.
At the end of Empire, but we didn't find out that Leia was his sister or that that Vader had a daughter at all until the 3rd one. So I think it'll be similar to where we'll find out who her parents are in episode 8, but then there'll be another big reveal in episode 9.
Gio?
Yeah, I mean, this is not something that you really want to, stretch out and, kind of milk. You kind of want to respect the fans and, kind of address some of it, and maybe not all of it, but definitely give some backstory. Don't Amazing Spider-Man at 1, where it's the you say you're gonna say something and then you don't end up saying something until the beginning of Amazing Spider-Man 2. So yeah, I think episode 8 will know more.
Yeah, you don't want to irritate the fans. I don't think they can wait another 2 years.
Yeah, it was the biggest thing coming out of the movie, and that's the biggest thing people are still talking about. So. All right, we'll continue on with the Rey parentage story. J.J. Abrams last week sent the Star Wars universe into a little bit of a frenzy. He was at the Tribeca Film Festival talking with comedian Chris Rock, and while asked about Rey's parents, he was quoted as saying, "Rey's parents are not in episode 7, so I can't possibly say in the moment who they are, but I will say it is something that Rey thinks about too." And obviously, the comments, they were a little strong, and fans... They don't take very much with a grain of salt, so they kind of went a little crazy. And while talking with Entertainment Weekly, he clarified his comments by saying, "What I meant was she doesn't discover them in episode 7. Not that they may not already be in the world," the filmmaker told the site. "It means that those fan theories about Rey being the daughter of Luke Skywalker later are still valid." So, first I want to ask, do you believe the first comments he made about Rey's parents not being in episode 7? Or do you believe his clarification of the comments? Jacob, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, so first of all, it's not fair that people involved in this franchise have to be so careful with everything they say, but it is what it is. You know what you're involved in. You're the director of The Force Awakens. You're executive producing probably the rest of this trilogy and beyond. So you're going to have a microscope on you all the time. Everything you say regarding Star Wars is going to be watched and tore apart, every single word. So he should be smart enough to know better and not, say these things, because he makes it sound like oh, it's no big deal. I didn't say it the right way. It is a big deal because people like us, everyone's gonna lose their minds. And based on the first comments, I believe the second comments more, but the first comments, it doesn't make sense to me, because why would he say, "Oh, they're not in episode 7. Like, okay, that changes everything. If you say her parents are not in episode 7, that's like confirming something. That's confirming she's not a Solo, she's not a Skywalker. That confirms a lot. But then he goes, "Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant to say that she doesn't discover them." No shit. We know she doesn't discover them. So why are you even saying anything at all? But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, Gio.
Oh, my man JJ getting sloppy, huh? He's like, "I'm done with The Force Awakens, man. I'm done with all the secrecy." This was at the MTV Movie Awards or the Tribeca?
No, the first comments were at the Tribeca Film Festival, and then he was with Entertainment Weekly, and that's when he clarified them.
I was going to say, if it was at MTV Movie Awards, he probably had a couple drinks and was like, let it slip or something. But look, it doesn't change, that I think she's either a Skywalker or a Kenobi,
Or a Palpatine. No.
or a Bad
Oh,
Palpatine,
God.
Just kidding.
or a Fisto. Who knows? But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I mean, JJ will say he always said one thing, but it was so like. I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's so many possibilities to that answer. Yeah, like it's so that. And then with the second one, he kind of just back like any director would, after that response, But I kind of it made me think more about the possibility of her parents being evil. Like, how interesting of a twist would that be on Star Wars? Like you see the parents. I mean. Nah, but then Darth Vader was evil, so not really.
Yeah, but his well,
I kind of just never mind. I'm gonna shut up. All right, go ahead. Next person.
no, I mean it's the comments. You also got to remember JJ in the past has twisted things with
Definitely.
Star Trek with Khan
Exactly.
and stuff with Lost and TV shows and Super 8 and he's a man of mystery and he can easily be guiding us one way right now, and it can be on the opposite side. So it's definitely something interesting and to keep in mind going forward. Moving on from the Rey news, we're going to talk a little bit of Han Solo. A couple weeks ago, the short list for the Han Solo movie came out with Alden Ehrenreich, Taron Egerton, and Jack Rayner. Well, last week, a report came out that the potential frontrunner for the film, who Phil Lord and Chris Miller, director, are really backing at this point, is Alden Ehrenreich, who is probably best known for his standout role in Hail Caesar. Very unknown actor, especially out of the three, I would say. And probably on a lot of people's, probably right behind Taron Egerton and Jack Rayner because he is the most unknown. But could easily play Han Solo in my mind. I chose Egerton. I think we all chose Egerton as our top choice, but Ehrenreich is definitely a solid choice. So Jacob, I'm going to start with you. If this is indeed the case, if he is the front runner by directors in Lucasfilm, what do you think about him taking up the reins as Han Solo?
So I've not seen any of his performances, but everyone who has seen Hail Caesar didn't like the movie, but thought he was the best part of the film. So I have no prior judgment to him as an actor, but I will say I'm glad they're going for an unknown. For me, I wanted Taron Egerton. It's because I'm familiar with some of his work, and I really liked him. But at the same time, I would have seen Taron Egerton in the role. So now that when I think about it a little bit more, I would still love him to play it, definitely, for sure. Still my number one choice. But I'm totally fine with them going the very, very unknown route because I want to see Han Solo. I don't want to see a face that I recognize. Mm-hmm. So as far as that goes, I'm really cool with this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Gio, what do you think?
I try to stay away from casting lists and frontrunners and all that after Joaquin Phoenix and Asa Butterfield. We all remember that with the Marvel. But again, like Jacob said, if he is indeed the frontrunner, he's certainly had a lot of hype behind him with that movie, Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
Right? Hail Caesar?
Yes.
Yeah. So, he's an unknown. Pretty much more of an unknown than Taron. So this would kind of be his big breakout role for him. So it's a bigger story for Alden than say Taron. Alden would make the Han Solo casting a little bit more of a bigger story because it's an unknown, really. So
when the shortlist came out a few weeks ago, in that report it also said that both Egerton and Ehrenreich, they actually screen tested alongside each other, and having a lot of people think that possibly they could be playing solo brothers. Do you think that one of them could be Han and one of them could be a brother?
He has a brother in the movie, and I'm curious because if he does, that story's gonna end bad. I think.
You think so?
Well, think about it. No mention of his
True,
brother at
very
all.
true.
They have to consider that. They can't just be like, oh, his brother, lives in a different galaxy. No, because I think if he does have a brother, something bad's going to happen, and it's something to where he doesn't ever want to talk about it again. I'm fine with Alden Ehrenreich, right?
Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich as Han Solo, and then Egerton as
As
the
his
brother.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm totally. If he's not going to be Han Solo, I'm totally down with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though, I mean, it would kind of. Well, I don't know what other role Taron Egerton would fit in the Star Wars universe, because I kind of want to see him as maybe in a comic book movie. Like he's in Kingsman, but like a Marvel or DC is what I mean. You know what I mean when I say that. So yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Gio, what do you think about the possibility of that?
I don't know if I like it, honestly. I mean, because up to this point, we've never had any indication that Han Solo has had a brother, right?
Well, we don't hear. I mean,
But
he technically has a mother and a father. Like, you know, someone had to give birth to him. So, and we never hear about his parents either. So, we never hear anything about his family.
yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's just that you've already established so much in the future that to add more now, which means that later on, you're going to kind of be thinking about that in the back of your head and be like, why wouldn't you bring that up, I guess. You guys get what I'm trying
Well,
to
that's
say?
what kind of sucks about prequels and going back to these characters that we know is because, let's say, you know, they do come out with the story where he has a brother and stuff. Now, every time we watch episode 4, episode 5, we're going to consider that. And then younger generations who watch this movie first and then watch episode 4, 5, and 6 are going to be like, wow, they're only going to know Han Solo as someone who had a brother. So it changes the whole character in a way. But I'm fine with, I'm saying if I don't have a choice and they do give him a brother, Taron Egerton would be a great choice.
Could you see Jack Rayner in that role as well?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. Any of the guys they named for.
Yeah, I think the three of them are really solid choices.
Yeah, definitely.
Make them all brothers. Give them 2.
I mean, he already has a brother, Chewbacca.
Yeah, very
So-
true, very true. All right, well, moving on from that news, we're going to jump to a little news that might excite us all. It was revealed earlier this week that Alamo Drafthouse will be presenting the 3 original films, unfortunately not the original, the 1997 special editions, in a back-to-back Return of the Trilogy roadshow touring more than 20 locations nationwide. We will get a chance to see A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi return to the big screen. And I know for us, because we are younger, we never really got a chance to see them in theaters. So it's definitely some big news. It was said that it's going to 36 theaters re-release the adventures of the trilogy on more than 1,000 screens. And from states all over the country. There's going to be some in LA. There's actually going to be one in San Francisco. I think it starts up in August. 38 AMC theaters locations across the country. So I know that, you know, I'm sure we're all excited about this. We're all going to try and get tickets. But Gio, man, let's just start. You know, what do you think about them bringing back the original trilogy? Well, the 1997 original trilogy anyway. And are you going to be there watching?
No. Now, forgive me if I'm not remember this correctly, but this is the one that's the most controversial among fans, the 97 special editions, or is it?
Yeah, it's the one with, well, these aren't as bad as I think he did more to the DVD versions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in
More
the early
special
2000s,
features.
the ones that
Yeah,
came
the
out
DVD
with the
versions.
prequel, around the prequel time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Whenever they added the singing, dancing thing in
That's
Return
in
of the
it's in
Jedi, is
97.
the horrible shit.
It's in 97,
So.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, all the fans are asking for the unedited versions of
That'll never happen.
these movies. Isn't it owned by 20th Century? Or
It's owned by George Lucas.
Oh, it's owned
and
by
he'll never let these things go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Some people out there have them.
that's
they
true.
have to.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I don't know. It's for me, it's a studio movie, girl movie, like the movie that I go and watch while I'm drinking. You know, like I don't know. Like I want the original versions. You know, I've seen these ones many times, and we know the flaws. We know what happens, this and that, but it just kind of feels like, you know, they're just giving what they have, and you know, nobody's really asking for it. I mean, are you guys? Maybe I'm alone here, but
All right. Are you effing kidding me? I've never seen the original trilogy in theaters, and I get a chance to see it.
Yes.
Hell yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to watch this. Are you? I don't care if it's the special editions or not.
Yes.
John Campea from Collider Jedi Council said it best. Take out, yes, there's the things he added to these special editions, but It's minor stuff.
It's like 4 minutes of the movie.
Exactly. We still get to see all the greatness of Star Wars. I've never watched it on the big screen. I've watched the prequels on the big screen when I was a kid. I never watched the original trilogy on the big screen. Wherever this is, even if I heard it's only going to be in select places at first, I'm willing to drive to San Francisco to watch these.
I'm with you.
I really will. As soon as I heard this, I was over the moon excited for it. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I can't say it any better. I think that the day I heard it, I texted my friend who lives in LA. I was like, hey, I'm making a trip to LA because I want to come see these movies.
Yeah.
And that was before I realized that they were showing in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think they are, yeah.
So, and it starts up in August. With all the mistakes that George Lucas made with editing these special editions, there is so much greatness there. And, the singing in Return of the Jedi or the no for Vader or whatever it is, there's still so much there. And I've never seen them on the big screen before, and I think it would be such a cool experience. I love that it's a roadshow style, and that's exactly what The Hateful Eight was when it came out, which is a really cool experience to go in. And I have a feeling it's going to be in these really cool old school theaters as it tours.
If it goes to the Tower Theater in Sacramento,
that'd be awesome.
Would be amazing.
That would be so cool. But yeah, I think that it's really cool that they're doing this. I'm with you, Drew. I think it'd be really cool to do the originals, but unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to get those, which sucks. But seeing the original movies, whether they're edited or not on the big screen, would be really, really cool. So
yeah, I would even see the prequels at a separate time. I don't watch 6 movies,
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
I would even be willing to watch the prequels. So when I said, "Are you effing kidding me?" Did you guys think I was going the other way? Like, not excited?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little bit,
dude.
yeah.
I'm so excited for this. I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. That will wrap up our movie news. We're going to go to one piece of book news. So Star Wars Aftermath was easily the most marketed, anticipated novel of last year for the new canon of Star Wars. It was pushed by Lucasfilm. Unfortunately, it didn't get the best reviews by everybody. A little bit lackluster. But Chuck Wending, who wrote the book, has a sequel coming out, Star Wars Aftermath: Life Debt, and it's going to revolve around Han Solo and Chewbacca. And a little excerpt of the novel came out this week, and the excerpt says, "The galaxy is changing, and with peace now a possibility, some dare to imagine new beginnings and new destinies. For Han Solo, that means setting his last outstanding debt by helping Chewbacca liberate the Wookiees' home world of Kashyyyk. Meanwhile, Nora Wexley and her band of rebels pursue Admiral Ray Sloan and the remaining Imperial leadership across the galaxy. Sloan, increasingly wary of the mysterious fleet admiral, desperately searches for a means to save the crumbling empire from oblivion. Even as Imperial forces fight to regain lost ground, Princess Leia and the New Republic seek to broker a lasting peace. But the rebels' hunt for Admiral Sloan is cut short after the disappearance of Han Solo and Chewbacca. Desperate to save them, Leia conscripts Nora, Sinjir, Joss, and the rest of their team to find the missing smugglers and help them fight for their freedom." So, I know none of us have read Aftermath, but reading this excerpt, what do you think, Gio?
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Chewie is the one that has a life debt to Han, right? In Legends?
Yes, but I'm pretty sure that's canon as well.
It's canon.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's in the original
all
trilogy.
The details of it from the Legends are not, but as a great ex-Sith Lord once said, there's always truth to Legends. But you wouldn't get what we're referencing. Do you know what I'm referencing?
I know what you're referencing.
Yeah,
yes.
Darth Maul says it in a certain episode of Rebels. But it's so that the book, Everything You Need to Know About Star Wars, all the facts in there are canon. And on the Chewbacca page, it says that Chewbacca owes a life debt to Han for rescuing him from the Empire.
Yeah.
So it's technically canon, but that's as much as we know. That's it.
But this one says that Han has a life debt to Chewie, right? Right?
Well, his last outstanding debt, but it says that they're captured or go missing, so possibly that's where the life debt comes involved.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting. It just shows the true origins of Han Solo and Chewbacca, their adventures together, what leads to that life debt. And I'm pretty interested in. I was always interested in that that Wookiee's homeworld of
Kashyyyk.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if that planet is still in existence today, or if it got blown up. But I'm interested to see more of Chewbacca in there and his relations to other Wookiees, and maybe Han Solo if he had a relationship with them. Who knows?
Yeah. For me, I mean, I love the excerpt. I think it's great. It's definitely interesting. I would love to pick up the book. I don't know if I need to read the first one or not first, but there's a couple things that stand out. Obviously, Chewbacca and Han Solo together, that sounds awesome. But while listening to Jedi Council last week, they had talked about Rey Sloane, and apparently in the Legends books, there's always so many characters that they create that kind of cross over between each other. And Rey Sloane is starting to become this character in the new canon. Apparently, she's in a number of novels already, and she's being very popular with the fans.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see who her character is and learn more about her. Also, Nora Wexley. There's the pilot J.J. Abrams' buddy, Greg Guggenheim.
Oh,
that's
right.
his name in The Force Awakens.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if
I think they are related.
maybe his mom or an
Yeah.
older sister or something. So
Yeah.
that's definitely interesting. So there's some definite tie-ins there. But yeah, it's something I definitely want to pick up. It sounds interesting, and I'm always for more Star Wars.
Yeah,
so.
it's not. So there's been some other novels announced that I'm like dying to read. Bloodlines, and then the Ahsoka one.
Yeah.
This one is not as highly anticipated, but I do want to read. If I had time, I would read all of them. I really would, or at least listen to the audiobooks for all of them. But with life, school, work, all this stuff, it's really hard. We don't get paid to review this stuff, so but I have to get Bloodlines and Ahsoka because I don't know enough about Ahsoka. So, but I will get to this if I can. If not, I'll watch as many reviews about it or listen to Christian Harloff ramble on about it, which I love.
That's a go-to guy.
I get all my Star Wars information from him, so shout out to him. This is exciting. It's a good story. I definitely think it'll be very enjoyable for the people that do read the books, for sure.
I just hope that, and I haven't read Aftermath, but I just hope that it gets a little bit better reviews because Aftermath
this
was
is what
not.
I heard. So I heard, Aftermath was a disappointment, but so Han and Chewie make a cameo in Aftermath,
And they're the best part,
and
correct?
they're the best part. He wrote that part really well, and they're one of the main components of this new novel. So, that's promising for sure.
All right, good stuff. Well, that's going to wrap up our Star Wars news today, and we're going to go to our final segment of the show, where we do what's called Address the Academy, where one of us at the table bring up a topic we'd like to talk about in the world of Star Wars, whether it's movies, books, comics, or TV shows. This week is Jacob's turn. He's going to have something he brings up in the world of Star Wars that we're going to discuss. So without further ado, Jacob, go ahead.
All right, Grand Moff Bartley here, and I would like to address the Academy, the Padawan Academy, and today I would like to bring up a simple question, and that simply is, will we see Rey turn to the dark side? Mm-hmm. I know we've talked about this, in minimal capacity in the past, but we've never had a full fleshed out conversation about it. So there's a little bit of background. We always see our protagonists tempted by the dark side, and everyone has a defining moment where they decide to do something that would send them down the path to the dark side. In Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker defeats Count Dooku pretty much by himself after Obi-Wan, gets his ass beat, and the Emperor is standing there. He wasn't the Emperor yet, but he's sitting there, and he tells Anakin to kill Count Dooku, cuts off his head with 2 lightsabers, which is really dark. It was the first PG-13 Star Wars movie, right? So you have that. Obviously, we know what type of path that guy took. In Return of the Jedi, Luke defeats Vader, and the Emperor, again, is telling Luke to kill Vader, and Luke decides not to do it. And as far as we know, Luke stayed good, even though he's, tempered with the dark side a little bit. And now, I don't think this was her moment like that, but it was, to me, this is very similar. I have the Force Awakens Blu-ray. I've thought about this before, but more so when I watched it recently. So throughout the whole film, we know, or we assume that the Force is guiding Rey, right? We see her in the very spoilers. If you have not seen The Force Awakens, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast if you haven't seen The Force Awakens. But We see, you've been warned. We see the beginning. First of all, why is Rey such a good fighter? How does she know how to fly ships very well? The Force usually helps you with that kind of thing. We see her, getting ready. She wants to sell BB-8 to get the 60 portions, but all of a sudden you see her for no reason look down at BB-8. I mean, he kind of growls a little bit, but I don't think that's why. And then you can see it in her head. She's thinking. I think something's telling her to not sell. Something's guiding her. And then later on we see her use the blaster. She misses at first, hits a stormtrooper, looks at the gun like, what the heck? So something's obviously guiding her, and then we see the Force vision, right? So I think another moment where the dark side is tapping into her head is near the end of her fight with Kylo Ren. So she taps into the Force, correct? And she starts whooping his butt. And I believe it's after when, Kylo Ren comes at her and they both hit the lightsaber and she kicks him in the chest and makes him fall down. When she's standing over him, if you see that look on her face...
Oh, it's an aggressive look.
She wants to kill him. And no, she does... Look, all right, think about this. When he captures her and she wakes up, she says, you still want to kill me. And she says, that's what happens when you're getting chased by a creature in a mask. She's always wanted to kill him. So when she has him in a vulnerable position, you can't deny that part of her wants to kill him. And who's to say she wouldn't if the ground didn't split between them? So what I'm proposing is that in that moment when she's circling him with that aggressive look on her face, either the Emperor or Snoke are in her head saying, do it, kill him. Because if she does that, that's going to send her down the path to the dark side. And we've seen it before. The Emperor doesn't care if Anakin killed his apprentice, so Anakin would become his new apprentice. Same with Luke. He didn't care if Luke killed his apprentice, because then Luke would become his apprentice. Whether it's Snoke or maybe the Force spirit of the Emperor in Rey's head saying, do it, kill Kylo Ren, that would send her down the path to the dark side. And with Kylo Ren being dead, that makes her more vulnerable to Snoke for him to seduce her to the dark side. So with all of that background being said, I probably didn't need to go into that much detail, but regardless of any of that, first of all, do you guys think that in that moment when she kicks Kylo Ren down and she's looking down at him, that some type of dark side is in her head? And do you think she could possibly head down the dark side?
In that moment, possibility, yes. But I think that, we've seen Jedi be aggressive at times, and in the past we've seen Obi-Wan do it, and obviously they're a little bit trained more, and I think it's just her realizing the Force again and maybe tapping into some kind of power that she hasn't felt in a long time, or maybe hasn't ever touched. But there's a high chance it could have been something a little bit darker.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that she could go down the dark side, because I don't think Kylo Ren's redeemable. I don't think he's turning, because I don't think you can have Rey and Kylo Ren on the same side. And that if Rey turns, I think that would mean Kylo Ren had to turn back to good. And I don't see Kylo Ren turning back to good.
I think I probably should have said this. I think if she does turn bad, Kylo Ren will be dead already by this point.
Then that case could definitely be made.
Maybe her killing him, though.
Because it's one or the other.
Her killing him.
Yeah, and would it be interesting? Sure, but I don't know if they'll go down that road, because I think there's so much more story there for Kylo Ren on the dark side. And there's a possibility that Rey can go bad. I mean, a lot of people are considering it as theories, obviously, and whatnot, and we don't know who her parents are or whatever, but I just see her being a very strong female Jedi going forward alongside Luke or whatever it is, Finn, Poe, whoever it is, and Kylo Ren kind of being the Force of the dark side until certain circumstances happen down the road or something. So
So I just want to make things
a great
clear.
theory, though.
I don't necessarily think or want this to happen. I'm just proposing the question.
No, it's a great conversation.
Will Rey go to the dark side? And I don't know if it's going to happen or not, and I don't want it to happen. I would prefer her and Kylo Ren to stay alive for the next 3 trilogies and have him stay on the dark side, her on the light. But Gio, how do you feel about this?
You brought up a good point, because until you mentioned Rey standing over Kylo Ren, that was the one shot I was thinking about out of the entire movie. The one hint that we get that she has some sort of
she has that look on her face,
Aggression,
like,
darkness. Yeah.
I want to kill you so bad right now.
Yeah. So, but like you guys said, when I tried to argue that Luke would go dark side, she made a choice. She didn't do it. Whether or not it's because the ground split, you know, I mean, it's obviously the choice why. But I mean, I don't see it. You know, this is the new Star Wars trilogy going forward. You know, young females around the world love this Daisy Ridley character, and you know, God, I was losing my train of thought. Ah, God. I mean, I don't see it. I'm gonna say something that is gonna be like, oh God, but I think for her to go to the dark side, maybe if Finn dies. Like,
Something like that. I
Yeah.
mean, her best friend dying.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because she's already witnessed Han Solo, you know, getting stabbed. Spoiler, and how she reacted to that. She was busting out in tears.
Yeah.
She was sad over that. And then, you know, at the end, she was very concerned about Finn, you know. And I'm not trying to get any romance. I'm trying to be for real. But, you know, if Finn would die, now she's lost Han Solo and Finn. Now, like, that would devastate anyone. Probably send them down a path because they're like, you know, what is being good done for me so far? You know, like, it's cost me the lives of everyone. So,
Well, it's interesting because, you know, Jacob, you had mentioned what some people call your Jesus moment, your coming to Jesus moment. And,
exactly.
in the original trilogy, it was Return of the Jedi. In the prequels, it was Revenge of the Sith. So
It'll probably come in episode 9.
Yeah, so it's,
I never said that was her moment, but it was a little temptation.
yeah,
right there,
but I don't
you know?
think I don't think we've seen that moment.
No, not
and,
no.
Whether that's, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very telling after episode 8, and you know where the story goes from there, and maybe they change it up, and maybe it comes in episode 8, and then it sets the stage for episode 9. But it's definitely a very interesting question, something that can definitely be debated for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't want this to happen. I just think it's interesting to talk about. But I think they would take two things, or not necessarily specific two things, but I think her deciding to kill Kylo Ren, or maybe somebody else, maybe Snoke, whatever, her just killing someone, and then I think if she finds out that her parents deceived her or something like that, or like let's say she asks Luke, "Do you know who my parents are?"
And he knows,
he knows whether it's him or somebody else, and he lies to her, and then she finds out, and that like kind of causes some distrust between them, and that just sends her slightly down the path towards the dark side, and then she kills Kylo Ren, and then she's going further and further. So that's what it would take, but I honestly don't think it's going to happen. Please let us know in the comment section. Do you think? I know one of our listeners really thinks that Rey is going down the dark side.
Well, Emperor status too, yeah.
Yeah, and thinks that she's related to the Emperor for sure. I don't think so, but you know, everything's a possibility. We don't know anything yet, but yeah, that was my address to council this week. Will Rey turn to the dark side?
Awesome. Well, that's going to wrap up the Padawan podcast today. And before we go, I'd like to thank both Jacob and Gio. And Jacob, where can they find you online, man?
You can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_. Please subscribe. Please hit that like button. Comment. Let us know what you think about these Star Wars topics. We really do appreciate it.
Gio?
find me on Twitter at GeoRamos24 and apocalypsemovies.com every day.
And you can find me, your host, Jake Berlin, on Twitter and Instagram at QuigonJake, apocalypsemovies.com every day. Check out everything we're doing over here at Apocalypse. Make them watch it. Rumor Central, our weekly movie news show. And until next time, may the Force be with you.